into the lesson, The Living World. So as we know that when we ask you what are the characteristics of a living organism, immediately the thought that comes to all of us is we say living organisms tend to grow, tend to reproduce, exhibit metabolism, they have a cellular organization, they are conscious, self-replicate and self-regulate. But now, are reproduction and growth really defining properties? When we try to look at all these aspects and try to find out whether they are defining or non-defining properties, two important things which we can say is reproduction and growth are not defining properties, because we have seen many couples who are unable to reproduce, and we have also seen organisms that are sterile by nature, like mule and in honeybees, the worker bees, they are all sterile. So reproduction and growth are not defining properties. Now, metabolism, cellular organization, and consciousness are defining properties. Now, this is very, very important. So they might ask you, giving you all the choice to confuse you, and then they will try to ask you to pick out the defining properties. So keep it in mind, metabolism, cellular organization, and consciousness are defining properties. Now, with this, let us get back, let us move on to the next point, that is biodiversity. So what is bios life? Diversity is variety. So biodiversity refers to variety of plants and animals on this planet. So when we have so many plants and animals on this planet and we want to make an attempt to study them, we need to have certain norms to follow so that it is easier for us to understand more about these plants and animals as a botanist or a zoologist or as a microbiologist. Now there is a need for classification. Why is there a need for classification? So that we can arrange the vast number of plants and animals into categories that could be named, remembered, studied, and understood. Remember, you get into a departmental store, you see things are classified accordingly. You might see all the groceries on one side, all the snacks on one side, all the toilet items on one side. Why is it being done? So that it's easier for you to go pick up the material you want. Similarly, even when we are classifying organisms, we want to make it as easy as possible for others to understand and try to apply it when they are studying. Now, can all the organisms have different names? That is the next concept. The thing is, for example, you take a simple organism like dog. So you can call dog as Nai in Kannada and in Tamil, Kutta in Hindi, Kuka in Telugu, and Patti in Malayalam. See, just in India with multilingual culture, when you can call a simple organism like a dog with so many names, imagine how many names dog would have all over the world, in all the countries, in so many languages. To avoid all this confusion in the scientific community, scientists thought of having a universal code to name all the organisms. And Carl von Linnaeus, a Swedish botanist, he spearheaded the process of naming the organisms. So his system is known as binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, nomial is name. So naming an organism by two names is known as binomial nomenclature. Then, can I name the organisms in two names as I want? No. It has to be done with a specific, following specific rules and regulations. Now, what are the rules for nomenclature? Names should be Latin or Latinized. The first word refers to the generic name and second is the species name. It has to be printed in italics. If it is printed, it has to be done in italics. If it is handwritten, it has to be done separately. It has to be underlined. And genus starts with a capital letter and species name starts with a lowercase letter. Now, where do I get to know all these rules? As a botanist, if I have found something, I want to name it, then where will I get to know the rules? How am I going to get the rules? So we have International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, or ICBN. So you have to remember the abbreviation. ICBN stands for International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. The next one is ICZN, International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. So as the name suggests, botanical nomenclature has to be followed. The code has to be followed for naming all the plants. In ICZN, the code has to be followed for naming all the organisms. Now, taxon. You must have heard this term taxon, taxon, or a taxa. What is taxon? Each category in a classification is a taxon. Now, taxonomy is the study of principles and procedures of classification. So classification also has a principle, I said. So what is the principle? What is the procedure? Because sometimes I might think this is a new organism I have discovered, but it might be already been there. So I have to see what is it and what is, am I giving a duplicate or am I giving an original one? All these things I have to find out and do, for which there are set of principles and procedures that need to be followed, and this is taken up by taxonomy. Now, systematics. So systematics deals with classification of organisms based on their diversities and relationships among them. So these definitions are very important because they might give you the definition and ask you to identify whether it is taxonomy, systematics, or classification, or a taxonomic hierarchy, or they might give you the definition, ask you taxonomy is, then they will give you the different definitions and ask you to identify the correct choice. Now, taxonomic hierarchy. So you know, hierarchy means the ladder. It is just like a who occupies the next position. For example, what is the hierarchy in your school? It will be your class teacher, then your section head, then it could be the vice principal, and then the principal. So the class teacher is the basic unit of classification, who has more powers to take care of all the students in the class, and principal for the entire class. So this is an hierarchy. Similarly, even in taxonomy, we have hierarchy to arrange various taxa of classification. Now, this is a Linnaean hierarchy because it was popularized by Linnaeus for the first time. It is known as Linnaean hierarchy. So I'm starting from the topmost thing, that is kingdom, phylum or division, class, order, family, genus, and species. For the first time when you listen to this, it might be a little baffling. How do I remember this? Now, to remember this, I give you an anagram. You make a note of it. King Philip or David came out for ginger snack. So K stands for kingdom. P stands for phylum in case of animal kingdom. D stands for division in case of plant kingdom. C stands for class. O stands for order. F stands for family. G stands for genus, and S stands for species. Now let us look into each of these things in a little bit detail so that it will help you to understand or answer the questions that are the game changers. Now, a group of organisms that are similar in appearance and can mate to produce fertile young ones are considered as species. Now, let us look into familiar examples like mango, Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum, potato. Here, indica and tuberosum are species epithets. Now, you have understood that I'm talking about the species. You have different species of the genus Mangifera, like Mangifera fetida, Mangifera sylvatica, Mangifera cassia, etc. Similarly, genus Solanum has species like Solanum nigrum, Solanum melogena, Solanum lycopersicum, etc. So, these species share features that are similar and hence grouped under the genus Mangifera or Solanum. Now let us look into genus. That is the next step. So genus comprises of a group of related species that has more characteristics in common in comparison to species of other genera. Closely related species form a genus. Example, closely related lion, leopard, and tiger belong to the genus Panthera. Though lion is Panthera leo, leopard is Panthera pardus, and tiger is Panthera tigris. This genus will differ from Felis, which includes cats. Now, family. Group of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to the genus and species form a family. That means to say, as you're growing above, that is from species, as you keep on proceeding, general characteristics will become lesser and lesser, and general characteristics will start becoming more and more, and specific characteristics will become lesser and lesser. Now they are characterized, now families are characterized both on vegetative and reproductive features of plant species, because you will be studying more about the plants than in animals. Now you take an example of Solanaceae family. It comprises of 98 genera like Datura, Solanum, Petunia, Brinfelsia, etc. Now similarly, if you look at family Felidae, it comprises of cheetahs, lions, tigers, leopards belonging to different genus. Now order. If you look at categories or species, genus and families, they are based on number of similar characters. That's what I said. As you go higher and higher above, the characters become more general, and only based on the aggregates of the characters we will be able to identify them. Now look at the order Polymoniales. It includes families like Solanaceae and Convolvulaceae. But if you look at Solanaceae members and Convolvulaceae members, you will not find them belonging to the same order unless you examine the floral characters and find out the similarities and group them. Hello? No, the thing is, it is not here. So related orders form class. Now example class Mammalia has 19 orders. It includes lemurs, monkeys, apes and humans. Now phylum, if you look at related classes together, form a phylum in animal kingdom and division in plant kingdom. If you look at class fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, they can all be placed under single phylum Chordata based on the presence of notochord and dorsal hollow nerve cord. If you all of them look at them morphologically, you won't be able to find similar characteristics, but internal studies you will be able to place them together. Now division angiospermae comprises of classes monocotyledonate and dicotyledonate. So regarding these classes and all the stuff I will be doing in third lesson and fourth lesson when we are looking at plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Kingdom, it is the highest level of classification. All plants are placed under kingdom Plantae and all animals are placed under kingdom Animalia. The details of classification will be dealt in the next lesson. Apart from the broader Linnaean hierarchy, taxonomists have also developed subcategories to facilitate more sound and scientific placement of taxa. So we have subspecies, subgenus, suborders, and so on. Now, I hope you remember the table in your textbook. So you have to remember that table because it is very, very important for you. Now, let me look. Now, when we are studying about, okay, you might ask me, why is this domains that is come here? I just wanted to show you how the kingdoms are there. Now, the latest one has been proposed by Carl Lewis in 1990. So, according to him, there are 6 kingdoms: Kingdom Archaebacteria, Kingdom Eubacteria, Protista, Mycota, Plantae, and Animalia. The details of which I will be discussing. This only to give you an insight. I just put this organizer. Now, how are we going to really get into the study? What are the things that really help us in understanding? So there are certain aids which we call it as taxonomic aids. These taxonomic aids are herbarium, botanical gardens, zoological gardens, and keys. Now, let us I'm going to explain you, but you can have a look at this, where I have put it as a graphic organizer. So botanical gardens, you know, it's a collection of living plants. Now you must have visited botanical gardens in Ooty or Lalbagh, which is a botanical garden, or any garden which has been maintained and where you find the plant names being meticulously written with genus name, species name, family, and other important details. They form botanical gardens. So important botanical gardens: Lloyd Botanical Garden, Padua Botanical Garden, Pisa Botanical Garden. Herbarium, see, herbarium can be used in two sense. One is the dried pressed plant specimen is also called a herbarium, and the building that lodges these pressed specimen are also called as herbarium. So you should understand in what context the word is being used. In your text, you might have seen how the herbarium will be preserved, will be made. So when you look at it, it will be baffling. Am I looking at making of a herbarium and then I read that it is a storehouse? What is it? It is used in both the both senses. That is, the pressed specimen is also a herbarium, and it is also a storehouse of dried, pressed, and plant preserved specimens on sheets is also an herbarium. Central National Herbarium, Kolkata; Madras Herbarium, Coimbatore; Kew Royal Botanic Gardens, London. To confuse you, they have asked in one paper, Madras Herbarium, where is it located? So very eagerly, when Madras is given or Chennai is given, students will take that, but it is actually situated in Coimbatore. Make a note of it. Now, zoological parks, places where animals are kept in protected environment. I'm sure you must have visited zoos and you would have collected information about the animals. And the last is the keys. Now, keys are used for identification of plants and animals based on similarities and differences. Usually, keys are prepared in an analytic manner. That means to say you will have two statements. Each statement will have an alternate character, and these alternating characters are called the leads, and together it forms a couplet. Now, depending upon the specimen in your hand, you will observe it and then try to analyze it. That is why it is called as an analytic tool. Now, flora, index to plant species found in a particular area. For example, you might have seen books in the market, Flora of Coorg, Flora of Mangalore and all. So these are the books where botanists have studied all the plants that are present in that particular area. They have documented all the details and then they have made it into a book that forms a flora. Manual also provides information for identification of names of species in an area. So here they will only give what are all the probable species you will be finding in a particular area, but manuals will not be as in-depth in its content when compared to flora. Monographs contain information on one taxon. That is, it could be either of a particular genus or it could be about a particular family or order, whatever it is. So this completes today's concepts, what you are supposed to read in the first lesson, Living World. Now let me take you to the test. So as I told you, you had to click on biology, class 11. I'm doing the first test here, Living World. So let me click this bubble. Now take a test. So if you read this, you will be able to get it. Since we are running short of time, I say I understand. I'm going to the test. Now let us look here. Now, distinctive characteristics exhibited by organisms are growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response, mobility, metabolism, ability to self-replicate, self-organize, interact, and emergence. Growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response, metabolism, help to self-replicate, self-organize, interact, and emergence. Ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response. Growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response or mobility. So as I said, they will put all the ideas and then they will ask you to look in. When you look at this, everything seems to be correct, but the most apt answer will be ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response. So here I have clicked it. I'm going to save and next. ICN, the International Code of Nomenclature for Algae, Fungi and Plants, was formerly called ICBN. What does ICBN stand for? International Committee for Botanical Nomenclature, International Committee for Biological Nomenclature, International Code for Biological Nomenclature, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. See, if you are not clear with the expansion, as I have shown you in the notes, where what does ICBN stand for, you will not be able to get it right. So it is International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. Save and next. Properties of tissues are present in the constituent cells. Second statement is properties of cellular organelles are present in the molecular constituents of the organelles. This sentence is present in your textbook. So if you look at it, it is not the properties of tissues, but the interaction. The word interaction is missing in both the statements. And Linus Pauling has clearly stated that it is not the property of the tissues that are present in the constituent cells, but the interactions that make the appearance of the properties. So here both are false. Save and next. Regarding systematics, which among the following is correct? Latin word systema, which means placing organisms in various groups. I'm sorry, I had to go to fourth question. Some universal rules of nomenclature are as follows. Both the words in a biological name, when handwritten, are separately underlined. Till here it is correct. Or printed in italics, that is also correct, to indicate their Latin or Italian origin. It should be Latin origin, but here it is given Italian origin, so you can live off this choice. The first word denoting the genus starts with a capital letter, and specific epithet also starts with a capital letter. No, that is also a wrong thing, because the specific epithet starts with a lowercase letter. The first word in a biological name represents the genus, while the second component denotes the specific epithet. So this is the right answer. Biological names are generally in Italy and written in italics. So when you see the word Italy, it is wrong. So the correct choice, the nearest choice is the option C. Now regarding systematics, which among the following is incorrect? Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. The scope of systematics later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. The word systematics is derived from Latin word systema, which means placing organisms in various groups. So that is regarding Latin word systema, which means placing organisms in various groups, is the incorrect choice. So save and next. All categories together constitute the taxonomic category. It should be taxonomic hierarchy. So the first one is wrong. Each category represents a rank, and it is commonly termed as a taxon. So this is correct. So 1 is incorrect, but 2 is correct. Now identify the wrong statement. Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae are included in the order Polymoneales, mainly based on the leaf and stem characters. No, it is based on the floral characters. So the first statement itself is wrong. So you can easily check it up. Regarding A and its reason, that is assertion and its reason, fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds are placed in phylum Chordata, but not mammals. They are placed in a single phylum based on common features like presence of notochord and dorsal hollow neural system. Here, if you look, assertion is incorrect, but reason is correct. And it's also the correct explanation. So let us look at the choice. A is correct, but R is incorrect. Both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation for A. A is incorrect, but R is correct. A is incorrect, but R is correct. There is a continuation. R is the correct explanation for A. So you need to tick this fourth option. Indian Botanical Garden and National Botanical Research Institute are located at Lucknow and Ooty respectively, Ooty and Delhi respectively, Howrah and Delhi respectively, Howrah and Lucknow respectively. Howrah and Lucknow respectively, it is there in your NCERT. So for all such questions, you had to mark it in your books. You had to write it down, so that these are called the trivia questions, general knowledge based, so it's easier for you to revise. Zoological parks are the places which enable us to learn about food habits of wild animals, which enable us to learn about behavior of wild animals, where wild animals are kept in protected environments, all of the above. So it is all of the above. The keys are based on contrasting characters, generally in a pair called complement. So that is a wrong thing because we said it is a couplet or a couplet or a couple. Each statement in the key is called a lead. So one is incorrect, but two is correct. The keys are based on contrasting characters, generally in a pair called complement. That is wrong again. Each statement in the key is called a cue. No, it is called a lead. So both are incorrect. The taxonomic studies of various plants and animals are useful in general for knowing our bioresources, forestry, agriculture and industry, all of the above. It is all of the above. Which of the following is less general in characters as compared to genus? That is going to be species. Which of the following is more general in characters as compared to class? Now, can you recollect after class what comes? King Philip came. So it is division. So I'm going to end the test here. So it asks, do you want to end the test? Yes. Now it is going to give me the answer. See here, now I saw that everything is correct here. It is going to give me that every answer has been answered. And suppose if this is red, that means to say it is incorrect. Then I can click on that and then find out the answer. Maybe tomorrow when I'm doing a test, I will show you what happens when an answer is incorrect and what happens when you do not answer a question.